Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of the His and Her Money Show, where we make it our business to help you take dominion over your money and your life. We're so grateful to have you tuned in to another episode because you could be tuned in elsewhere. And the fact that you're here rocking with the His and Her Money Show, we want you to know that we are grateful for you. You know what we are about here. We are about that money, not in the sense of arrogance or in the sense of pride, but man, when your money's right, you feel better about your situation. You're able to dream bigger. You're able to have more control. And so that's what we try to do. We try to put y'all in the driver's seat of your financial life instead of you being in the passenger seat, sometimes ending up in destinations that you didn't plan to be in. And one of the powerful ways to take control of your financial situation is through the advent of entrepreneurship. You should be an owner. You should be an investor. You should have control in the creation, goods, services. Maybe you have some gifts that other people would pay you to use. I don't know what it is, but I know that having one source of income is too close to having none. And for a lot of you all have taken on the challenge, especially with all that the world went through a couple of years ago. And you started thinking, there's something I can offer to the world. And we want to be as best of a resource as we can be. We love helping you all manage your money, build wealth, invest, and strengthen your relationships. But we want you to be strong entrepreneurs too. And so that's what today's episode is going to be about. We want you to think bigger. We want you to think better when it comes to your business endeavors. And so we have a special guest to help us all do just that. His name is Damien Watts, and he has a ton of knowledge in this area to help you think differently than what you're currently thinking. Because anything God gives you to steward, we want you to steward it well. And so sometimes we need to hear our paradigm that's different than ours so that our paradigm can expand. Let's go get Damien so we can hear all of his great knowledge and expertise on this matter. Hey, Damien, welcome to the His and Her Money Show.
Hey, how's it going, man? Thanks for having me.
So glad to have you here. Been looking forward to this conversation because I know you have a lot to offer our audience today, and I know that they're going to take good notes and be able to implement some of the knowledge that you're going to drop today. But for those being introduced to you for the first time right here and right now, can you just say hello to them and kind of give them a little bit about what you're all about?
Absolutely. So my name is Damien Watts. I own a digital marketing firm based out of Dallas, Texas, and we help entrepreneurs grow and scale their brands to new heights. Okay. So I'm a country boy at heart. I like to spend a lot of time with my family. I have 3 beautiful daughters, and my goal in life is to impact as many lives as possible while also changing my family's trajectory.
How did you get involved in entrepreneurship? Not just in the sense of helping others, but for a lot of people, entrepreneurship often seems like something for other people, not necessarily for them. How did the entrepreneurship bug strike you? What was that all about?
Oh man. I played a little college ball, and I started my entrepreneurship journey in college, actually. So there was a network marketing company called Amway, and on my side, that was very, very new to me as far as going out, talking to people, trying to get them interested. So just learning the sales game, right? So I started out, I guess you can say, in sales, and from there, it kind of transformed into after having a job, after doing the right things, right? Go to college, get a degree, get a master's, and then you go out into the world and try to take over, right? Well, I found very quickly that I didn't like taking orders. I didn't like sitting behind a desk as far as like a cubicle in a setting, and I didn't like politics in corporate America. So after about 9 months of having a job, I started my journey in my entrepreneurship journey in the digital marketing realm, right? So I saw a course online. I took that course, devoured it, spent, my last little money on that course. And from there, the rest is history.
So the world is super digital now more than ever before, and not just in the sense of education or entertainment, but now even entrepreneurship. And it seems like there's more opportunity now to become an entrepreneur thanks to the advent of the internet and all the different things that are at our fingertips because of the internet world. Is now the time that people should be really, really considering dipping their toe or jumping in 2 feet, whatever you want to call it, into the world of entrepreneurship?
Absolutely. I think right now is the easiest time to get something started. There's a wealth of knowledge online. There's a wealth of knowledge between people who have maybe gotten to a specific destination that you're looking to get to. So, that's, in our world called masterminds, mentorship, things of that nature. But I think that it's extremely easy to get started right now because there's a floodgate of information, right? You can go into any realm online and there are ways to grow, build, and scale a business. On my side, I have a lot of fun being very diverse in what it is that we do. So on our side, just to kind of give the audience a little bit about what we do, we help people build their foundation. We help them grow and build an audience, and we help them scale their brands online. So on our side, we like to look at it from you always have to start somewhere, right? So a lot of people, they come to us and they start from scratch. And now we're moving into a different realm of online. We've been doing this for about 7 years now. And people, again, like I said, they always have to start somewhere, right? And all it takes is an idea, and you have to pick a lane. So in this world, there is a physical product lane, a service based lane, or a info product lane. When I say info product, I mean something selling something digital, whether that's a program, an ebook, a mastermind. It's something that can be digital, right? So those are the three buckets that people typically fall under. And then if you're really techie, you can get into the SaaS space. So that's, tech, right? So once you find that lane, after you get an idea of which route you want to take, then you need to pick a niche, right? So let's just say that it's ecom. You might want to sell apparel. Let's say it's info product. You might want to sell a course. Take your IP, bundle it up, put it into an offer. If it's SaaS, obviously it's tech. And if it's service based, maybe you want to do consulting. So you have different lanes that you can choose. And each one of those lanes, we've built a proven process and a framework that we call 8-figure plays to help people get to the next level.
8-figure plays. All right. Now everybody's listening now. Okay. 8-figure play. How realistic is that for the person listening right now? Because I think that um, especially when you're building something, or if it's new, or if you've been doing it a little while, it's easy to look around and then kind of measure and judge where your success level lies based on what you perceive the success levels of others are doing. And so you may be year 1, year 5 into your entrepreneurship journey, and you're seeing people online, trips here, cars there, doing big things seemingly on social media. And so maybe they hear that term 8-figure plays and they're like, is that possible for me? What would you say?
Honestly, I think it's possible for any and everyone that gets into this internet space because it's infinite, right? So when you're talking about brick and mortar service based, outside of the internet, it may be a little harder to get to 8 figures. But in this digital world, we can reach everyone. I can put an ad in front of an ideal target audience and sell them on an offer, right? With, specific messaging, everything has to be congruent. But we've had people on our side come to us. We've had about 10 people from scratch get to 8 figures. When I say from scratch, that means coming to us zero money online, right? I think that obviously there's a starting point. The way that we look at everything is if a person is looking to get started, you got to get your first milestone hit, right? How can you make your first $1,000 online? Then we go to 10,000, then it's 50, 100, all the way up to 7 figures. And then we orchestrate and reverse engineer. How can we make, if we're making 6 figures a year, how can we make 6 figures in a month? Then we reverse engineer that. How can we make 6 figures in a day? And then we get all the way up into, 7 figures a month. And then that's how we get to 8 figures. But again, as far as the question that you're asking, how easy is it? I don't think that it's easy at all. I think that there's a lot of things that a person has to consider. We talked about this earlier when it comes down to entrepreneurship turning into a job, and some people have a 9 to 5 and you leave that job. But again, like the way that I look at it, I was willing to work on something that I was building for myself, right? So that was the first commitment that I had to make as a up and coming entrepreneur. Once I made that decision, you have to do the things that you need to do in order to build a solid foundation. Right now, the name of the game is building a personal brand and becoming a content creator and having an offer to give to an audience. If you can't deliver value, I say go and figure out a different way. But if you can deliver value and you know your craft and you know your skill set, you can sell anything online. I think that when you're on that journey to that 8-figure mark, it really just comes down to consistency. It comes down to actually providing value and delivering and fulfillment. And then it also comes down to having a good offer. And if you can do those things while also building a community around that, building what we call a tribe or an association, if you can do that, anything is possible.
All right. So, what comes first in your expertise? Because you mentioned a couple things in your last answer that kind of stick out when it comes to this entrepreneurship conversation in the world that we're in now, and that's digital ads. And then at the tail end, you talked about the importance of building an audience. So it almost feels like maybe the chicken and the egg conversation. If I'm new or if I'm in the entrepreneurship space, but I'm looking to grow or have a better impact, where's my energy? Is it audience building? Is it upping or even beginning into the foray of advertising? What do you think?
Got it. I'm a big believer of both, right? So I believe that you should start building a personal brand and start building an audience. And the way that you do that is through content, right? So creating impactful content is going to be something that is where I tell everybody to kind of start, right? Even if it's not about the likes, it's about the repetition. It's about building
Wait,
confidence.
we can't go past that too fast. Damien, slow down. Because we are in a world, and science backs this up. We get a dopamine hit when them likes and them hearts are registered underneath our post. And when it's not there, we judge ourselves or we judge the content that we put out that didn't work. But you just said it's not about the likes, it's
No,
about consistency and the reps. Please unpack that further and drill that home for us before
got
you
it.
proceed.
For sure. Yeah. So when it comes down to the consistency part and not caring about the likes and follows that may come after that, it's really all about like building the confidence around the content creation part, right? So most people that come to us and we deal with, they're camera shy. They're afraid to get behind the camera. They're afraid of what people may think. In this day and age, the game is who can keep and capture the most attention, right? So at the end of the day, if you're providing value, keep posting. That's my motto right now. I'm in the same footsteps as all of the beginners because I'm starting from scratch in a new world, right? So I help entrepreneurs scale their businesses, but I haven't tried to scale my own, right? So our world, I want to build a solid foundation from scratch so that I can show people what's possible. I got maybe like, I don't know, 5,400 followers right now, but you're going to see over time as I continue to post content that I'm an introvert as well, right? So on my side, I did care about what people thought. I didn't want things to live on my page. But then again, when you think about it and you think about these platforms and what they can provide, these are money making opportunities that you're missing out on, right? Because again, what you know, what you do, what you can potentially teach or a product that you may have can help someone, right? So all you have to do is continue to put out content and then that's when you get into the paid advertising side to try and go and find those people for you. So as long as you're creating a base of content on your social media pages, once you get into the paid world, those people are going to come, they're going to be extremely cold, meaning they don't know who you are, what you do, or anything of that nature. They're going to start, if you have content, they're going to start engaging if it resonates with what it is that they come to your page for, right? So I think that as you're building that foundation, not being afraid to post, again, there's a two-way street. One is you're building the confidence and you're getting the reps, the mental reps. And then number two, when people come to your page, they need to have something that they can consume. If they don't have anything that they can consume, they're going to bounce.
All right. So you've worked with people that came from scratch, and you've also worked with people who existed that you helped scale. Now, with that instruction that you just gave us about becoming consistent in content creation, what is your admonition to us as far as where? Should we try to be omnipresent, meaning that we're on IG, we're on Facebook, we're on TikTok, we every YouTube, or is it best to put energy on a platform that we're the most comfortable with? Like, what are you seeing based on your expertise?
The goal that I need everybody to get familiar with and the terminology is content repurposing. Okay. And what I mean by content repurposing is you create what we call long form content. So you get into a spot, you record content for about an hour, and then you can distribute that content to all of your platforms. Now, the biggest area that I run into the most, where I get the most conflict, is as a content creator, do I have to continue to post every single day? How long? Like, it cuts into your time and your hours of your day, and then it can become a hassle, right? So in order to get around that hassle, a really smart thing to do is create what we call batch content. You create long form content, you chop it up. So that way, let's just say you create an hour long video talking about a specific topic. That 1 hour video can then turn into 15 to 30 days worth of content. So that way you don't have to worry about the stress of having to post every day, what to put inside of the captions, things of that nature. So we create schedules. So I think that that's the best way to come about when it comes to posting online. And I, on my side, before I changed my name to the 8-figure creator, I was the omni-channel king. So I believe in distributing your content to every single platform. Right now, you want to catch on to the platforms that are giving the most love. And what I mean by love is they're showing you, if you can post content that's relatable on our platform, we will show you love and distribute it for you. So that's where the algorithms come into play. Right now, 2 platforms that are giving the most love: TikTok and YouTube Shorts. Now, I believe that you should have content everywhere. So what I mean by that is Facebook, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, and TikTok. You need to disperse your content across the board, so that, because again, like, your target audience is on all of those platforms. So if you can continue to feed them with value and continue to capture their attention, eventually, if you have something to sell, they'll buy.
Good stuff. Now you have helped companies go from 0 to 6 figures to 7 figures to 8 figures. Can an introvert do that? Because you just said, I'm an introvert. And some people have these great ideas, have these great services that they can provide, but then like, yeah, I'm an introvert, I don't know if I can have that type of success. They'll see the big personality people out there, and they're like, I got skills, but I don't have that thing. What would you say to them?
When it comes to getting online, creating content, if you're an introvert, I'm an introvert myself, right? So, like I mentioned earlier, it all comes down to consistency and reps, right? Getting to 6 figures a year in today's age, it's gonna be more than just having a product. People are gonna buy you, not the product. Obviously, the product is, it helps out with the end result, but at the end of the day, people are coming for you. So I'm a big believer of telling your story so people can resonate, and everything can become what we call relatable, right? So in our world, we want to create relatable, impactful content. If it's relatable, that's what we use as like our sticky. So if people can come and they stick to the relatable content, obviously, if you can continue to feed them, all you're doing at that point is 2 things: nurturing your audience and monetizing that audience. Okay. So whenever you're creating this content, I have a perfect case study, right? So I'm doing this for myself because I want I want to show people that it's possible from scratch, right? So I'm going to be documenting this entire journey, and people are going to see the rise of an introvert to making X amount of dollars online. Obviously, I have a specific skill set that's going to help with that, but I'm still starting from scratch. I do have a guy that came to us. This was like in 2020. His name is Marcus Barney. People call him 500 online, and he is in the financial literacy space. When he came to us online through his funnels, we were at zero, right? So $0, maybe had 10,000 or so followers online. I think less than that, but I can't go all the way back to 2020. I remember exactly where he started, but he grew. He was also shy behind the camera. But now, when you look after repetition and doing it time and time again and figuring out how to move and shake based on a character that he created for himself online, now you can see a completely different human being, right? So if you go and look down his timeline, you'll see there wasn't a lot of content. Then he started posting. Then there was more video. Then it just continued to progress and progress. And as he grew as an individual in his confidence level with his speaking, his revenue also grew, because now he learned how to portray his message to his specific audience that he was going after, which was the credit niche. So I think that anybody can do it. I also think that, again, it's going to come down to going all in. and not caring what other people think at the end of the day, because again, it's your business. They're not paying your bills. Like, you have to protect yourself, right? So you can't listen to the haters, the naysayers, and people of that negative energy. I think that if you can keep it positive and stay grounded, anything is possible online as long as you have something to offer to people.
That's good, man. Now you look around, and when you're thinking digital entrepreneurship, you see things like ebooks or webinars or courses, or creating some type of monthly subscription service where you provide a service to an audience. And people may be confused trying to figure out, like, which one of these should I go after. How have you helped clients figure out that question? All right, I have this, I'm good at doing makeup, and I want to be a influencer that way, or help people feel beautiful inside through, or I want to talk about money, and I want to help people get their money together and feel the peace that comes when you have your money together. But they're like, should I write a book? Should I create a course? Should I do a webinar? And then that all of those that salad of options that are out there can leave some people stuck at doing nothing because they're frustrated with trying to figure out that answer. How would you help them?
So the first thing that I would do is I would separate ebook and webinar, right? Because the ebook is the end result. The webinar is how you get to the end result. Okay. So what we use on our end, we set up these, again, the 8-figure plays. We have these foundations. We have a webinar foundation, a challenge foundation, a sales funnel foundation. And then obviously you can go and capture emails and capture information online. So there's what we call frameworks. These frameworks is what you place your products into, right? So that's the distinction there for ebooks, courses, whatever it is that you're trying to sell. The way that we look at things is we now are helping people build real info product businesses. Okay. And what I mean by real info product businesses, we're not only going to sell an ebook, we're also going to sell a course. We're also going to help you build a community. We're also going to help you have a mentorship or a mastermind. So we're going to help you build what we have is a product ecosystem. And with that product ecosystem, we're going to build a moat around that product ecosystem that drives into your core product. Moat, if you think about a castle, you have a river around it. The only way you can get in is if the bridge is let down. Well, that's what we're doing with each one of these products that we're driving to our core product. So let's just say that our core product is a course for $2,000, right? I may have an ebook on the front end. I may have a lead magnet, something that I'm using to get people in for free. I may have a mastermind or something that we have in our ascension ladder. So let's change that. Let's say that the core product is a $25,000 mastermind, right? So let's say that that's the mastermind. Everything that we're doing outside of the mastermind is to get people and ascend them into the mastermind, right? So we come in to an ecosystem and we build everything out for the people on the front end, right? Yes, you may not start with all, but the goal is to, okay, let's start with an ebook. Let's go and build and see what kind of interest we can get. Let's also take your IP and take your knowledge and bundle it up into a program. Let's sell that as well. So we want to have multiple product offerings. So if a person is just now coming into the game and they're trying to figure out where they should start, because again, you can get into decision fatigue and just get overwhelmed very quickly in this space. On our side, we set the marketing foundation. We do what we call empathy maps. So the empathy map is simply us going and figuring out who your target ideal customer is. What language should we use? What pain points do they have? What problems do they face? We do a lot of research on the front end for a particular niche. So if a person comes in and says, hey, I do real estate deals and I want to help people get real estate offers. So I know that space extremely well because I've been in it for so long. But again, we would say, okay, well, there's different buyer buckets, right? So there's different types of buyers online. There are people who are beginners, there's intermediate, and there's advanced. So you want to have something for all of these individual types of people, right? So beginner, they're not going to come in and buy a $2,000 program for you, but they may buy a $27 ebook. So we want to have something for them. You have your intermediate people who are already in your space. They're trying to figure out who to listen to and learn some new gems. That's where you have your $500 to $2,000 products. Sometimes you may get away with products around $5,000. So you have something for them. And then you have your advanced people who want more of your time, people who want the real sauce, right? Because people typically hold things out of their programs, but then they come in and get the real sauce. They're willing to pay you 10,000 plus, right? So you want to have something for them as well. So if you leave out any of these components, you're missing out on money. So the goal is to set a marketing plan, set the foundation, have a proper front end, have a proper back end so that you can follow up and nurture the people through the sales journey. And you want to be able to offer people, I believe, everything.
Okay. Another part of your strategy that you help implement with the clients that you take on is advertising. Now, for some, we're familiar with ads because when we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, when we're on YouTube, we see them. Not so much familiar with using them for our businesses per se. And I've heard you speak on this topic, and I've heard you say something that I haven't heard anybody else say up to this point. Because when you think advertising, you think I put a certain amount of dollars into advertising, and then there's an ROI, a return on investment. So if I put this much out, what I get back in return is going to outweigh what I put out. Hopefully, if I do it right. And I heard you say that you don't initially start with doing ads to necessarily sell something, but what you're doing is collecting data, and that's more valuable than that initial sale. That's out the box thinking, but I would love to hear more about that strategy.
Got it. So anytime you get online, you have to look at these social platforms as data houses, right? They have so many data insights on you, where you live, gender, age, all of these things that they captivate. They can see how many times you purchase. They can see all of these things that you're doing online as far as your behaviors. So on our side, when we look at it, if a person's coming to us that's brand new, budget is maybe $5,000 a month to kind of spend online. Out of that $5,000, the first 500 to 1,000 is going to be spent on testing, right? So when people come in, I say, look, don't be scared. Trust the process. Here's what we're about to do. We need to figure out who your ideal customer is, and we need to let the platform tell us where we can find more of those people. So that first initial testing budget, there may not be any conversions. Most of the time it's not, especially when you're just starting. So you have to take that and say, okay, I'm investing into my brand. I'm investing into capturing and collecting data. From there, after we spend that first $1,000, depending on what it depends on what you're selling also, right? So if you're selling a physical product, $20, $50, things that what we call impulse buys and impulse purchases, yes, I know for a fact that if I spend $500 to $1,000, I'm going to make you $1 back, right? You're going to make some money back. But if you're in the digital space, people don't know who you are. They may not know who you are from a physical standpoint either. But again, it's a little bit of an easier sell from a physical product standpoint. But we're using that money on the front end to capture information. That information that we're looking to capture is we need more people to come to the site and utilize the pixel events. And what I mean by pixel events, it's a piece of code that you stick onto your site. You can think of it like a GPS tracker. You go onto a website and it's going to follow you throughout the entire website until you leave. Okay. So if a person comes and views a page, you're getting tracked. A person comes and adds something to their cart, you're getting tracked. If they purchase, you're getting tracked. So they can see your entire journey throughout the platform, right? And utilizing the pixels. So there are other things that we use to kind of help with that more clear visibility and to gain more clarity around the actual data itself. But in this example, we want to know what people are doing, right? So let's just use Facebook, for example. Facebook is based off of clickers, likers, viewers, and all these different subsets that they have to determine what a person will do and what actions that they will take online. So let's just say that I go to a website, I click on it, I don't buy, I get all the way to put in my credit card, one of my kids distracts me and I leave. Well, that's called initiate checkout, right? I initiated and I was about to purchase. So now that information is going to be sent back into the platform. So there's a different type of message that you want to put in front of that person. So throughout the buyer's journey, you have what we call prospecting, re-engagement, and remarketing. So as we're captivating and gathering this data, now I can put a specific message in front of me because I went all the way to checkout to try to convince me to check out. And what I mean by that is if somebody's coming in that's brand new and that's cold, you may have something around a pain point or an angle. Let's just say that it's real estate, right? One of the real estate angles within the wholesaling space is learn how to fix and flip and do deals without having any good credit, little to no money down, etc. Right? So that's a pain point. So that's going to capture my attention. So I get that person and come into my ecosystem. Now they're on the website. Now, based on what they do as far as their behavior on the website, I could then, if I get all the way to the checkout and leave, I can now put a message in front of them and say, hey, I saw you came to my checkout and you didn't pay. I get it. People have distractions, but here's why you're going to want to come back and rethink that. So now the messaging changes, right? So I wouldn't know that if I didn't have this data, right? I wouldn't be able to put a message in front of that person if they didn't go through the process and I'm capturing this data. So that's why you want to take that money, not only to see the customer journey, you also want to see what type of person is coming through. Is it a male or female? Where do they live? What area are they coming from? What age range are they? So like all of these things we can see inside of the back end of these platforms. So now if I have 1,000 people come to a website and I'm trying to dissect this data, out of that 1,000 people, I may find that over 40% of the people that are coming through are female. So what is that going to do for me? Now on this $4,000 budget that I have left over, I may want to target men because 60% of people are coming through are men. So maybe I want to test out a subset for only men. Maybe it's 25 to 45 from an age range, and I'm targeting 18 to 65. Now I want to narrow down even further because now I have data to be able to make these data-driven decisions. So I hope you guys can kind of pick up where I'm going is as I'm spending money, I'm capturing data to then be able to put something back out to those people based off of the data that comes through.
Nice. Now, some people may be asking themselves, how do I know if I'm ready for ads and creating an ad budget and all of that? Is there, because you've done it both ways, you've taken people from zero and you've taken people who are mid stride. How have you helped them evaluate if their business is in position for advertising?
That's a really good question. It's different per niche. It's different per category and vertical. But let's just do two different case scenarios, right? One way I would do things if you're just now starting out is I would use the organic side as a test. So going back to the content creation and building confidence and things of that nature, I would use the organic side to kind of see what people are engaging with. That's kind of like my crock pot, my incubator, right? So I post a piece of content, it gets 1,000 likes and you only have, not so many followers. That may be an indicator that people are rocking with what I have to say, right? So we use the social media platforms as incubators, and then we use the advertising platforms as to help increase and expand on that brand awareness and that visibility on that particular topic, right? So I also am a fan of doing both at the same time because through the market research and through the things that we do on the front end, we know who to put the who to go after when it comes to the actual targeting, right? We know what type of messaging to put in front of the person because again, we do an extensive amount of research on the front end. So we know exactly who we want to go after. Now the platform has to go and find those people for us, but before we even get started, it's not like we're going out and just throwing something up against the wall and hoping that it sticks. We're coming to the table with a solid foundation that we know based off of research, the reviews that we may go and look at, different blog sites that we may go and look at, the research from Google that we'll go and look at. So we go through a process and we know beforehand, before we even put a dollar into the advertising systems, what people want to hear, what pain points that they're going through, the solution to their problem. You're supposed to have it. So we know from the jump, regardless of which route we take, whether we're just starting organic to test things out or we're going directly paid or we're doing both at the same time. I'm a big fan of doing both at the same time, but sometimes we run into situations where some people are afraid to create content. So we may have to start out with pictures, right? We may not get to start out with video, even though video has taken over the internet. We may have to start out with pictures, but again, we're still gathering that data while we're coaching them on building the confidence. So I'm a big believer of doing both at the same time, but the way that a person can get started, you can start either route as long as you know when you're going into the paid side, if you have a good product offer, if you know that you can fulfill, if you have a proper foundation, you can go either route that you would like to go.
Now, some people, they've set out to create digital businesses, but as we talked about earlier, they just created a digital job, but they got stuck there. They didn't just start there; they got stuck there to where everything is dependent on them, and they can't have an off day. and they're building something that's got their name on it, but they're tired of being at that level. You've been the Wizard of Oz behind a lot of big brands, a lot of people, 6, 7, and 8-figure earners from a revenue standpoint. What's the difference that you've seen, because you've helped so many different people in so many different niches, between the person who's able to scale and create a real business, thriving business, versus someone who is kind of like stuck at the level of being a solopreneur and just kind of everything being on them? What's been the demarcation between those who have had a desire to scale versus those who actually scaled?
Business acumen, mindset, and the ability to delegate. Those have been the three things that I've seen. And again, people may not start out with the best business acumen, right? They may not start out with the right mindset. They may not start out with proper delegation skills. But in order to get to that next level, each level has its own pillars, right? So getting to your first $10,000 online, you could probably do that yourself. You don't need a team. You don't need people to help you out to get to $10,000 a month. Getting to $100,000 a month, you're probably going to need some help as far as maybe a virtual assistant, maybe a graphic designer, maybe someone to edit your videos, right? So you're going to need to learn how to delegate. And with that, this is where a lot of influencers and a lot of people that come to us, this is where I notice the biggest gap. They don't have operations. They don't know how to operate a business. They know how to go get money because they're some hustlers, but they don't know how to operate a business, right? So there's communication flows, there's workflow processes, there's systems and SOPs. There are things that you need to have in place so that you can properly delegate. And if you don't have those things in place, it's going to make it very hard for somebody to come in and live up to your standard. So there's a lot of things that we have to teach entrepreneurs during this journey. But again, since we've been from 0 to 10,000, 0 to 100,000, and all the way up to 8 figures, we know when they're going to run into a bottleneck. So we prepare them on the front end saying, hey, if this goes how we think it's going to go, you're going to need to have the right mindset to know you can't hoard all of the money. Yes, you need to invest in your team. You need to invest in your processes. You need to invest the money, and we'll help you make that money back. But again, at the end of the day, as a business owner, if you want to be a true CEO, you have to be in control of your time, right? And most CEOs are not in control of their time, which then turns into a job, right? Something that you don't desire to get up every morning, something that you dread, because in my world, it's very easy to get unmotivated because we deal with clients, right? We deal with different personality types. We're doing all of these things to try to please people. But at the end of the day, if I didn't have a team, there's no way a person can handle that type of stress levels, right? So I think that, as you're getting into this space, you just have to understand those three things. You need to understand business acumen, get an LLC, have it go to a bank account, quit using, Zelle and Cash App and all these things, like do it the right way. So you need to do all of these things on the front end to set yourself up so that you don't have to worry about it later. Then you go into your mindset. The mindset is probably the most trickiest part because in our culture, we weren't really taught how to be business owners and leaders and things of that nature. So there's a whole mindset that shift that you have to take. Leadership. Can you lead? Are you a horrible boss or are you a good boss, right? These are the things that you have to think about as you're beginning to build a team. Do the people like you? What type of culture are you building for your brand and for your company, right? Because again, people, just like in our space, when clients come in, clients may leave, employees do the same thing. Team members do the same thing, right? They're always looking for the next best thing. Most of them have shiny object syndrome. So you have to build something that people believe in. So when it comes to that business acumen in your mindset, you also have your core mission statements, your company values. Like, what do you want to do within your company, and how do you want to be represented in the world of business, right? So those are things that you have to have on the front end. And, I'm a believer in business plans and things of that nature, but most of the people that come to us, they don't have business plans. They're just like, I got an idea. Can you help me make some money from it? Right. So these are the things that we're going to start putting out to the market so that people can have that foundation. And then obviously the delegation skills is probably one of the most important things when it comes to building and scaling and growing. Right. So typically when you start out, it's just you, maybe you and your wife, right? Maybe you do it together. you and your significant other, right? So you have that portion. Then as you get to $100,000, you're going to need team members. Those team members need to know that you're going to pay them on time. They need to know that you care about them. Like there's all of these emotional triggers that you have to worry about when it comes to building a team and having people that are really going to rock with you, right? Then when you get to 1 million per year, you're going to need more people, right? If you're in this online space, I can tell you that progression, you're going to need people who can write your copy, people who can help you shoot your ads, people who can help you build your funnels and your websites, people who can help you with customer service, right? So you have all of these different components that as you scale, more people are coming to your ecosystem. You're going to have these things in place so that you can take care of your tribe and the people who are rocking with you so that you can create what we call repeat purchasers.
Now, based on my research, this isn't just about money for you. You have a passion for your people, as you say, and you want to take the knowledge that you've ascertained from how 9 and 8-figure companies have gotten to where they've gotten to and bring it to your community. Talk about that.
Oh man, this is a very important topic to me because a lot of these things are about to be released. So on my side, I have a skill set that I know for a fact I can help any brand, any business scale to any heights that they are willing to kind of go after, right? Because getting to 8 figures is not easy. There's a lot of things that you have to sacrifice. There's a lot of things that you have to do. You have to change your mindset around spending that type of money online with the potential of making money back, right? So obviously the marketing plan has to be set in place for you to be able to get that ROI return. But sometimes I've seen companies, we have companies that are in our company right now that will spend $100,000 and make $90,000. So they lose $10,000, right? But they're still profitable because it's a subscription, right? So they have all these things that they understand as far as terminology, lifetime value of their customers, average order value. So some different terms that we can get into at a later time. But when it comes to giving back, most of the things that I've done has been on a one-to-one basis, right? A client comes to me, I help them build out their business and their plan. We go scale that and hoorah, right? They get to where they want to be. Now, we do have the ripple effect of that person gets to where they want to be, but they're helping other people. So we do have like a spider web that we have around us as far as our actual impact. But at the end of the day, there's more that we can do. And when I got to thinking about it, me and my mentor were brainstorming around how can we help more people? How can we get this out to the masses? What are some of the things that we can do to bring and uplift our people? Because again, with our skill set in a digital age, I believe that we have one of the most lucrative and one of the most, it has the most potential in today's age when you can talk about being able to start any business and find your ideal customers to get revenue from those people, right? So I think that that's something that's the number one thing in entrepreneurship. If you're not selling or you're not getting sales, there is no business. So the skill set that we've cultivated and the foundations and process that we put together, we've only had one person come through our business and not make money. And that person, it was on them. It wasn't on us. Everybody makes money. Now, again, based on your mindset, it all depends on how far you can go. Some people, they make $50,000 a month. Some people make $20,000 a month. Some people make 7 figures a month, right? So it's all dependent upon your level of skill set. What do you really want to do? And there's things that we can put in place to help you get to those levels, but you also have to show up. So it's a collaborative effort. So on my side, when it comes to my impact, my legacy, what it is that I want to leave this earth before I leave this earth, right? I think that it all comes down to transforming as many lives as possible. So most of the time you see online, people are selling their IP, they're selling their information for big bucks, right? If you want to buy a course, it's $997, $2,000. You want to get into a mentorship, it's $5,000, $10,000, $25,000. Well, just imagine a world where you can come into an ecosystem, learn all of the skill sets that you need, be able to get into multiple verticals if you would like, because now I have partners that are going to be putting their information inside as well. Well, there's different niches that we have inside of our ecosystem. So for imagine, let's say that you're a nurse, right? And I have a company that I can help bring into your world for home healthcare businesses. So I put together a system. Hey, here's how you start your own home healthcare business. Now I can also show you how to scale it. So I'm going to be giving people all of the opportunities that are possible for a person. We're going to have systems in place that guides them down the right direction so that they don't just get into something and 2 months later, like, screw this. Because my world, that's one of the worlds that you really got to have, the mindset to get into my world, because you're playing with other people's money, right? So that's not a very safe place, right? You really have to hone in on your skill set to have the confidence to be able to spend somebody's money like it's your own to then get them a return. So we're going to take our foundations and everything that we've done to help people get from 0 to 8 figures plus. We're going to put it into an ecosystem and give everybody the opportunity to get in at a very, very, very affordable price, right? So I don't care about making like these high ticket prices as far as like programs and things of that nature. I would rather dump everything into an ecosystem where everybody can afford it. And then from there, if they need more support after they go through our ecosystem, then we'll have things for those people. Because again, it's still all based on your mindset. It's still all based on, do you have that go getter in your system? So I think that what it is that we're putting out into the market, I think it's number one, going to help out with market correction, because in the space of the internet, you have a few things that you have to, stay clear of: gurus, the fakes, the scammers, and all the people who may learn something from another person and then teach it but don't actually do it themselves. And that's a huge problem in the space that we have right now is, people go to masterminds, they learn something, they try to bring it back into the community. That's great. But again, to be able to make massive profits off of that, to not be able to hold their hand through the entire process, not give them a clear route to success, I think that that's where the space is. You have to be very weary of the snake oil, right? So there's a lot of stuff that you have to make sure that you are aware of. And my goal is to kind of help cultivate a community and a foundation to where any person that makes it into this community that is teaching someone, I have personally vetted, I have personally made money from their programs. And on my side, the goal is to, again, just give people that foundation that they need to scale anything that they want to do. So if you want to sell cupcakes, I can show you how to sell cupcakes and make a business out of it. You want to sell t-shirts, I can help you do that. You want to sell your information, I can help you do that. So this foundation and this skill set that I'm going to teach people, it's going to give them the opportunity to be able to do anything that they want online.
Now I'm going to pause the interview just for a second. When will that be available? Well, I'm saying it because of how I'm going to phrase the question, depending on the
Got
answer.
it. So we're looking to launch January
Okay,
1.
so this is going to come, this interview is going to come out in January. So we're going to talk. My next question is, hey, okay, that sounds amazing. How can people sign up? So you're going to speak as though it's already live.
Okay,
All
perfect.
right, cool. 3, 2, I'm doing this for my producer. Sorry. 3, 2, 1. Yo, that sounds amazing. And I'm sure you got a lot of people's ears open to everything you just said. So what's the name of this ecosystem that you just talked about, and how can people plug into what you have to offer?
The name of this program is To Be Determined. So that's one of the things that we've been trying to figure out, a name that fits an ecosystem that gives us the ability to showcase that we are here to help uplift people. We're here to give people the guidance that they need. So that's one of the things that it's going to be under our umbrella of 8-figure plays. So that's the name of the company, but we're going to have subset companies that will help out with that. So as far as a name, that is to come. But once you see it, I think that everybody will understand what it is that we're trying to do.
Cool. We'll be sure to have it linked up once it's live. Y'all can just look right underneath this video. By the time you're seeing this, you'll be able to click on the link and go and plug in. Now, okay, here we go, right? We love, I think one of the, you just talked about how there's so many people saying so much online right now. I think one of the benefits, because you're right, there's a lot of cons and detrimental things that have come. But one of the pros and benefits that has come is I think more people are aware that they have the potential to do more than they thought they did, that they thought they could, whether that's investing or whether that's entrepreneurship. And so they're hearing everything you've said so far. They're inspired by everything you've taught them thus far. But I know, because I know the devil, right? And so as soon as this interview's over, that imposter syndrome is going to show up ASAP. And they're going to doubt whether they can be the one that hits that 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure plays, or if they can be the one that gets $10,000 a month, 20, 50, 6, 7 figures a month. Like, nah, I mean, that's cool for Damien and the people Damien's help, but I've got this, I've got that, I've got this obstacle, I've got that challenge. I don't know if I can do it. What would be your word of encouragement if you just had a few moments to talk to them one-on-one about what is actually possible?
The way that I would start that conversation is trying to figure out what it is that they like to do. That's typically where I start the conversation. What is it that you're good at? What is it that you like to do? If a person says they're not good at anything, then I believe that they're lying. They're good at something, right? So I think that, if you're a handyman, you can fix things. I can help you sell that, right? You're a nanny, you go and cook, right? I can show you how to sell that. It just depends on figuring out where a person is mentally to start out, and then what it is that they want to do in this world, right? What type of impact do they want to leave, number one? And then what is it that they want to show the world that they have the capabilities of doing? So if a person is just coming in from, let's just say, imposter syndrome, they may not believe in themselves or think that it's possible. I can beg to differ. On my side, I've seen it happen from a person who didn't even have an idea, and I came up with the idea for them, and then they got into the space, and then next thing you know, the money was great, but they weren't happy, right? Because again, entrepreneurship has different things about it that can easily deter you to not be happy, right? So again, one of those things is time. The amount of time that you have to spend inside of some of these areas may not be of your liking. You may like to party on the weekend, right? So there's other things that you have to consider when it comes to this space. Again, I mentioned it earlier, you have to think about the sacrifices that you have to make. So on my side, my goal in the beginning would be to figure out something that is, number one, can be turned into a business and be profitable. And number two, again, it's all about picking a niche and making sure that niche is scalable, because some things aren't scalable, but some things are, right? So I think that it really comes down to fixing your mindset, believing in yourself that it's possible, and then having a solution and a framework and a system to help you build that confidence around. Because again, like for most people, it's making their first dollar online clicks, right? So if it's a $50 sale, they get their first $50 sale, it clicks. But then again, if they don't get another sale for another 7 days or so, it may help them, lose confidence. But again, for most people, it's, I don't believe that I can make money online. But then when they make that first dollar, they make that first dollar, and they make that first 10, now it's okay, well, how can I make more? So it's kind of like an addiction from what I've seen, because most people, they make their first dollar, and now they're like, okay, I did that, but how can I get more? And then their mind starts to shift around, okay, here are some things that work in order for me to get that sale or to get that purchase online. How can I do more of that? Right. So then the brain starts working in, magical ways around putting together the proper mindset and making sure that you have the proper things in place to be able to get more of that. I believe that anybody and everybody can get online and make money. That is my personal belief. I have kids that are making money right now. I have people who are less younger than 10 years old making money online right now. And again, selling products and doing things online. This is only one field. There's option trading, there's forex, there's so many different things that you can do online to make money. Now you just got to figure out what it is that you want to do, and I know that's the hardest part of this entire process, is since there's so many shiny objects that you can go to, which one is the one for you? Well, again, you have to think about your time. You have to think about different things that go into that decision of the route that you're going to take for yourself. But again, if you're a stay-at-home mom and you're put into a situation where you need to make some extra cash, well, guess what? A skill set that you can learn is how to trade stocks, how to do stock options, things of that nature. Now, again, that's more of a riskier play because you're putting your money into a system and you're basing it on, you have no control, honestly. But there's other things that you can do as well. So I think that it really just depends on figuring out what it is that you want to do, what it is that you think that you could be good at, and then from there, you can always pivot. You can always pivot. That's the best thing about online, is if you don't like doing something, you can always stop. And as long as you have a skill set, you can move in any route that you want to take.
Nice. The last direction I want to go in before we let you go, what about the entrepreneur that their business is physical, like in real life? Is there still a benefit to them creating this, putting energy into the online space? So if I'm a caterer, if I'm a hairstylist, makeup artist, event planner, real estate agent, all those things have to transaction in real life. Is it still smart for me to run your 8-figure plays and build this online personal arm of my physical business?
Question is, do you want more money? Do you want to reach more people? Those are the questions that you got to answer. Most people are going to say yes. So let's just go to a real estate agent, for example. If you're a real estate agent, everything is physical, everything is person to person, face to face, and you're really good at what you do, right? You can close, anybody that comes to you, you have the confidence that you can close anybody, right? You're going to sell that home. You're going to do what you got to do. Well, guess what? You can maybe you have a specific mechanism that you use in your sales process. Maybe you give them cupcakes, every person that comes, right? So there's different things that you may do to help with your close as an agent. Do you think that you can teach people how to do the same? Because I guarantee you there are struggling real estate agents out there in this world. Now you got to do is put something in front of them, again, based off of a pain point, having problems closing your deals. Here's something that I've figured out on my side that I've done to help me close over 30% of the people that come to me from looking for a home, right? That is something that you can teach. So I think that anybody can turn physical into digital. So, for example, if you're a fitness company, right, and you go and you work out and you have all these things, but you need more people, you can turn that physical into a digital. Take your trainings from physical, put them online and sell them for digital, right? So there's things that you can always go back and forth between the two worlds. And again, if it's face to face, there's something that you're doing, if you're good at what you're doing, that you can teach people online how to do for their physical space. So you can see how it kind of goes back and forth. But all of that comes down to not being afraid to get behind the camera and pushing an agenda online and a movement online for yourself, for your brand, and for what it is that you can help people do. So you can easily go back and forth in between both worlds.
Nice. Now, Damien, I know people are going to want to keep up with you online. So what's your favorite social media platform? What's your handle? How can people plug in?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite one right now is Instagram, and you can just find me at Damien Watts 9. I will always have a 8-ball as my profile picture. Now, again, there's a lot of people that, they create fake pages, things of that nature. It will always be Damien Watts 9. No underscores, no extra S's, no extra T's. So you have to be aware of that as well, because there's a lot of pages out there that will try to take advantage of you. Most of the time it's in the crypto or investing space, but you have to be careful with that. Now, some of the newer platforms that you'll be able to find me on, I'm starting a YouTube channel. I'm going to get very aggressive around free value, and people will be able to follow the journey there as well. And TikTok is just one of those platforms that's evolving into a behemoth when it comes to content creation and consuming content. And the name of the game in 2023, 4, 5, 6 is going to be how much attention can you capture and how much of that attention can you keep.
Awesome. Well, we'll be sure to have everything linked that Damien mentioned, including his handles, in the show notes of this episode. Damien, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and sharing this wealth of knowledge with our audience today.
Absolutely. I hope that, you guys take something from this. And again, be on the lookout for something special coming, because my goal is impact at the end of the day. If you want to get to where you want to go in life, you have to help people along the way. And I think that we have a solution that can help every entrepreneur or business owner get to the level that they want to get to in life.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another fantastic edition of the His and Her Money Show is in the books. I hope that you had your pen and paper out. You took some good notes, put it on your notes app. But more importantly, I hope you're ready to take action. You just got game on top of game from Damien. What are you going to do with it? Plug in, do what you got to do. God gave you the idea, but it's up to you to steward it and take it to where it needs to get to. So we hope that we equipped you properly, and we hope that you're ready to walk this thing out. That's all we got for this time, guys. It's been great. Until next time, peace.